Hello and welcome to the Next in Line podcast, where we are helping to prepare you for whatever is next in line. As always, I'm your host, Chance Pitts, and I would like to thank you for tuning into this episode. Guys and gals, first and foremost, if you're listening on the day this thing comes out, Merry Christmas. I hope everybody's having a safe and happy holiday season, getting a little bit of recovery in. Lord knows we've all been running and gunning all of 23, and this sucker has just flown by. So if you're anything like me and in the mindset that I was in for a little while there, struggling, coming in on bald tires, screaming sideways, tires squealing into the holidays, man, I hope you get a little bit of respite and a little bit of relief. So wishing that for y'all on this wonderful Christmas. Now, as I sit down to record this show, got a lot going on. You know, 'twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, you know, the only thing stirring are me and a couple of dogs running around right now as I sit down to record this show. Got the wife in bed already, got the daughter chilling in her crib, just relaxing. So it's a good thing. We got some other things going on. If you look over here, I got my old thermometer out. Got old brisket going for lunch tomorrow, keeping an eye on it. So if that thing beeps during this show, I just know I might have to run out and go check that thing, make sure I'm not ruining Christmas dinner for us. So, guys, I hope y'all are doing good. And the purpose of this show today is to let y'all know what we got going on. A couple episodes ago, I dropped a podcast discussing kind of where we were at with things in Next in Line, and how I was not exactly happy with what we've been able to do with it so far, and kind of the effort put in on my part. And I guess another way of putting that would be not really excited about what I've focused on, or really proud of what I've focused on here in the past, 2 years of doing this show. And so as we sit down today, I wanted to give you all an update as to what some of those actual changes look like, and what that path is going forward into 2024 that's going to help make this show and make this movement something that we can truly be proud of, for those of us, all of us that are involved in this thing, and for those of y'all that have stuck with us from the beginning. So there's a few big changes coming our way. And first and foremost, I'll address the obvious if you're watching on YouTube here, the studio. You see, we've got a room here in the house that we've dedicated. We've got the wall that we've redone over here with all the awesome stuff. It's a really good backdrop. But we've been kind of fighting this situation where we got chairs and tables and all this crap, and we've got an older GoPro that we're working off of. We've got microphones hooked up here and there, and we're not bringing the best quality video and the best quality as I guess the most aesthetically pleasing thing to the podcast up to this point. I mean, it's gotten a lot better the past couple episodes with some of the editing we've done, some of the camera settings we've done, some research, some lighting, but we're still not quite hitting that mark. So going forward into the new year, one thing I'm going to be very heavily addressing and very proactive with is I'm going to be attacking the media side of things. What we've done is we've invested in a couple different programs, a couple different opportunities, some lighting, and some camera options. You see, we're going to switch to a multicam view. We're going to have the opportunity to change angles a couple of times. We're going to have the opportunity to really focus in on who's teaching, who's giving that lesson, who's having the conversation, and what they're bringing to the table, right? It's not going to be this zoomed out version of what we're doing and kind of capturing the broad spectrum that we've been capturing for a while. We'll still have that angle as well, but we're looking to just sharpen this thing up, neaten this thing up, and make it a finished product that looks professional and fits what we're trying to do here at Next in Line. So that's really the number one thing that we're diving into right off the bat is the studio, the hardware, the equipment that we bring to the table. It's going to be a little bit more crisp. It's going to be a little bit more sharp. And I can't wait to share that with y'all. Now, before I go any further, y'all are probably wondering, if you're watching on YouTube, why the heck I'm wearing these pajamas. Yeah, I know it's not super professional here on this personal development podcast, but you know, we got a little family tradition back home that I'm trying to uphold here a little bit. And it kind of goes with the theme of 2024, which is really kind of being happy, if you will. Bringing the best version of myself to the table, caring for those around me that have given so much to me, and supporting them where I can. And the reason I'm wearing these is just kind of a little nod of appreciation and a little bit of nostalgia, if you will, and maybe some homesickness mixed in there. But you see, every single Christmas Eve, my mom has us open one gift. And that gift is always 100% reliable that it's going to be a set of pajamas. And these are last year's pajamas that I got, and I really liked them. Really looking forward to this set this year, but we just turn out to not be going up there for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So in a few days I'll get my new set, but until then I'm going to hold out the old tradition, break out some old pajamas, and have the matching onesies and pajamas that we always get for Christmas Eve. But really looking forward to getting up there and spending some time with family as well. So that answers that question. But back to the content, guys. Another big thing that we're going to be focusing on here is making sure that we've got somebody that we can bounce ideas off of. Making sure we got somebody that is fresh and that we can bring extra value, maybe a new perspective, rather than just hearing me talk to y'all and yell at you and lecture and preach every single Monday. So what we're going to do with that going forward, guys, is we're going to be introducing a co-host. Many of y'all have listened to the podcast with Mr. Lane Diven on the show. He's been on for numerous podcasts, everything from solo, talking about his journeys and talking about our past relationship and how we came to be friends, all the way up to being crew chief on some of our long runs and being present for some of the crew conversations and some of those podcasts discussing how we took on these big challenges, the logistics of it all. And if you've been around, you know he's just a jam up good guy. He offers some great perspective. He's a deep thinker when it comes to some conversational topics that we've explored in the past, and he's a dang good friend of mine. He's one of those guys that will always be there, and he's genuinely one of those individuals that you want in your circle at all times. He's a guy that pushes continued growth for everyone around him. He challenges you to be better and to do better and to be the best version of yourself every single day. And those interactions are things that I cherish. So with that being said, as we roll into 2024, you're going to notice that 97% of the time, I'll be joined in a seat to my right over here, your left as the camera goes, by Mr. Lane Diven. I'll be bringing him on as a co-host, and honestly, I couldn't be more excited. I think it's going to be a freshness and a view to this podcast that hasn't been there for a while, right? I'm looking forward to his perspective, his commentary. I'm looking forward to just being able to do some more events with him. You know, we've done some recording already, had some conversations already, and those conversations have been some of the most valuable things to me. They've pushed me. They've caused me to seek out some higher levels of growth here lately, and I couldn't be more excited about that, guys. You know, we talk a lot about the people that we keep around us. We talk a lot about accountability partners, and with the podcast and some of the things that we've been lacking, those things are rooted directly back into accountability, and it'll be good to have somebody else with their hands on this thing, really pushing it and helping take this to new heights and where we could really see this thing going. I think there's so much untapped potential with Next in Line as a whole, not just on the podcast, but in the connections, in the network, and in the movement as well. So super, super excited about that. Now, the last big change that you're going to see is that, man, up until this point, there's been an area of my personal development that I know is so very important. But I have lacked the quote-unquote motivation. I've lacked the discipline. I have lacked the courage is probably the best word to describe it. And whenever we talk about it, some of y'all relate to it as well. But I've lacked the courage to dive into the spiritual side of things up here. You see, I haven't had the clearest cut and the clearest picture into what that looks like for me. I haven't lived a life where I've been reliant on anything else. And we'll dive deeper into the reasoning behind this and kind of where the direction we're trying to take this podcast, right? So we'll discuss that. We'll explore things and kind of give a layout of what it's going to look like. But man, after talking with Lane, after working on some stuff, it's clear that all of these big events, all of these crazy things, all of these things that we've been able to accomplish in the past couple of years, losing the weight, changing jobs, changing areas of Texas that we live in, pursuing different career opportunities with family, being supportive, having a baby born, taking on these big races and these big events and just growing our network and having all these people around us that are pushing to do challenging things and to have growth in all areas of their life. You know, as we explore all of those things, the further and further I've gotten into them, especially on my individualized side of things, I've realized that there's a hollowness. There's an emptiness that still lives inside of me and an itch that can't be scratched just by these achievements that we sit here and focus on and we work for and strive for, and these huge goals that I tend to set for myself over and over and over. And the only area that we haven't explored, that I haven't dove into, and honestly that I've been scared of for so long, is in that spiritual side of things, a relationship with God and understanding my thoughts and my actual beliefs as a quote-unquote Christian. And I say that because I've lived kind of a pseudo-Christian version of that throughout my life, and it's not something I'm super proud of up to this point, but I think understanding and realizing and admitting the problem exists is the first step in truly working to correct that. So don't worry, guys. The podcast isn't going to be wholly different than what it has been. The podcast isn't going to stop with the interviews. It isn't going to stop with the conversations and personal development. We're still going to share all the adventures. And yes, we're still going to have adventures. We're still going to have goals. We're still going to pursue things. None of that's going to change. We're still very driven and motivated people. We're going to test ourselves physically, mentally. We're going to push ourselves and build that strength to continue that growth in those areas as well. But we're going to add some perspective. We're going to add some opportunity. We're going to add some deep, deep work on the side of spirituality. And I hope that each and every one of y'all, especially those that have been there for us for so long, keeping up with the show, and all of y'all that are new as well and have found this podcast and enjoyed it, I hope that you'll continue that journey with us. I hope that you'll give us the opportunity to maybe dive into this area, because I know that I'm not alone in this regard. I know Lane's not alone in this regard. There's so many of us out there that just are kind of kicking around directionless. We don't have this sense of where we should be headed or purpose, if you will. Everybody always talks about purpose and the big thing that they should be doing with their lives. And I think a lot of those direction, purpose, a lot of those things like that can be discovered in this area that I haven't explored. And you'll hear this quote from us probably several different times, but there's a great quote out there called, "The magic you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding." And that's an area I've been avoiding for a while, guys. So I hope you stick with us through this journey. I hope y'all enjoy some of the different things that we do here logistically and hardware-wise and media-wise here on the podcast as well. And as we go through these changes and as we make these shifts for Next in Line, I hope that each of you would consider letting us know what you think. Comment on here if you're on YouTube. If you're on another streaming platform that doesn't let you interact with us there, shoot us a DM at Next in Line Development on Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear what you think of what we're doing. We'd love to hear about the direction. We'd love to hear any insight. You know, especially as we explore this area of our lives, something that that I'm a stranger to, I'd love to hear perspective. I'd love to hear maybe somebody said something about what we're talking about in scripture or in personal development that you thought was a neat way to look at it, or you have a past experience that ties directly into these things. If that's the case, we'd love to hear from you guys. We look for every avenue we can to learn. We're still chasing this development journey and pushing ourselves out there just like each and every one of y'all are. So thank you in advance for that. Questions, comments, concerns, perspective, shoot us that DM. Along with that, guys, I'd be making a huge error if I didn't list out some of the things that we have coming up that y'all can be looking for, that you can keep up with on social media there as well. Guys, we got a few races we're going to be taking part in and just crewing, pacing, and supporting as well. You see, we'll be at Brazos Bend State Park for the Brazos Bend 100 on January 6th and 7th, supporting Michael Ruiz and Kendall Diven as they run races out there. Michael's looking to run his first 100-mile race, which seems crazy knowing his past races here over the course of a couple of years. But, man, he's been putting in the work. He has had a complete mindset shift. He's reached new levels of mental fortitude and physical strength. He's put in a awesome training block, and he's going to go out there and do some really, really cool things. So we'll be out there at that race pacing and crewing him as he looks to knock that out. Now, Kendall Diven, she knocked out her first half marathon at the Rock and Roll Marathons over here in San Antonio earlier in December, but she's looking to go out there and do another one here at this same race. That'll be January 7th out there on the Sunday. We're super excited to be able to support her and crew her as well out there. So good luck to both of them. And man, if you're involved in that race, if you're out there, if you need pacers, crew, or any kind of support, reach out to us. I'd be happy to help however we can. And we're really looking forward to the opportunity to get involved with whoever we can to help you reach your goals and pursue whatever is next in line for you. Now, along with that, guys, the next race we're still kicking around considering. I'm a little behind on my training schedule and don't want to jump the gun, so we may or may not be out the next weekend, January 13th or so, in Bandera, Texas. We're looking to go out there and participate in the 100K or the 50K potentially, really stretching ourselves out there and getting some of that technical and rocky training that is offered by that Bandera track out there. Now, it's a very competitive race. It's very technical, has a little bit of elevation to it, and it's something that would be a big challenge. And with our training block and where I've been at, I don't know if I'm quite ready for that or if I'd go out there and injure myself. So let us know what you think. Let us know if you're going to be out there. Let us know if there's some opportunity for us to help you out there as well. But we'll let y'all know as we get a little bit closer whether that one's going to take off or not. Now, the next one that we're really, really pushing for, and I've got about 3 or 4 individuals potentially going out to, is the 3 of 7 Project 50K in Georgia on February 10th. We're pretty excited about that race. We went out there and ran the 50K the first year 3 of 7 Project had a race. Those guys are jam up good. They have an awesome message behind them, led by some amazingly inspiring and disciplined individuals. And it's just a good organization to be a part of. So looking to go out there and do that trail run. It's a timed event. It's a 4-mile loop, and you either run for 4, 6, or 8 hours. Just you keep going on that 4-mile loop, doing as many as you can, and whoever completes the most loops wins. It's going to be out there on a pretty challenging trail. It looks pretty technical. It looks like it's got a little bit of elevation to it as well, and it looks like it's going to be something that's really going to be a test. But February 10th gets us a little bit more time to prepare for that thing, and we're looking forward to going out there and being around some great people and potentially getting to participate in a really great race out there as well. So if you're interested in that, reach out to us. We're still working out the logistics, but we'd love to have you along. After that, guys, there might be another race or two on the books there, but my biggest race for this year that's solidly in place on the books is the Cocodona 250 on May 6th through 11th. We'll be going out to Black Canyon City. That's just north of Phoenix, Arizona, and starting there on the 6th and running all the way to Flagstaff, Arizona. There's a 250-mile non-repeating course that runs along several different famous trail systems across Arizona. It is a amazingly challenging race. Not only is it 250 miles, but there's 40,000 foot of elevation change. It's also a logistical masterpiece, if you will, for crew and pacers to be involved in. There's several different places that the pacers will meet us on the trail. There's several different places that the crew will meet us on the trail as well. And man, this is going to be a behemoth of a race. It's going to be a huge undertaking. And we've got a great group of people that are going to go out there and help. Now, we've been working through the training block. We're getting ready for that. And all of these races in between will be preparatory races for that big event here later in the year. But, guys, I couldn't be more excited. I'm stoked about it. Talked a little bit about that in the last podcast that we dropped as well, talking about the Cocodona 250. But if you're interested in being part of that, if you just have any questions and want to learn more, most people have the question that pop up is, why would you ever do that? But I've explained that before. I'd be happy to talk to you about it as well. So leave a comment, reach out, whatever. Be happy to discuss it. Guys, that's really all I got for you today. I'm looking forward to what this new year brings. I would challenge y'all. I'm not a fan of New Year's resolutions because I think that seizing the day is the most important thing. Start now. But if you're doing a New Year's resolution and I can help you in any way, if there's any tips, tricks, building good habits, staying disciplined, staying motivated, workouts, things that I've done in the past to get started. Remember, guys, I went from being 230 and super sedentary, not running at all, to getting to where I was working out every single day on a diet, losing weight. I lost about 60 pounds. Now I'm running ultra marathons. So it takes a certain mindset, takes a certain approach to get into that, guys. And if I can do anything to help or give any tips or give any tricks or insight into that, I'd love to do that for you. So don't hesitate to let me know, guys. But whatever it is, whatever you decide to do, make 2024 a strong year. Set some goals. Pursue what you want to pursue. And try to become the person that you want to become, guys. And that's the challenge I'd issue to y'all today. If I can help in any way, let me know. But until next time, and until we have this new format and the co-hosts in here with me, guys, do challenging things. Have a good rest of your holiday season. Reach out if we can help. And always be prepared for whatever is next in line.